Welcome Manish. 30 years in film fashion, 50 years odd in life, 1,000 films that he has costumed for. This is the 20th year of Lakme Fashion Week. More than a dozen finales, 6 million Instagram followers. It looks like a mathematical issue. So let me start with the last edition, which was the first of questions no one asks. And in the discussion, Manish's name was brought up, your name was brought up in absentia. Right after that, a number of your fans attacked us and some of the designers, one of who is no more, about being unfair to you. This love, this defense that your fans have, what has led to it? What have you done to charm people that they were ready to mow down 5 veteran designers of the Indian fashion industry?
Where I'm concerned, movies is something I've loved so much as a child. I really have. I don't think I've loved anything as much as I've loved movies. And in return, it's loved me back. It's given me everything. It's given me this platform that I'm sitting here today and speaking with you and to all of you all. And I think it's, I don't want to sound very philosophical, but I think when you love something so much, it does somewhere in turn, give you all the love back. So that is a story that I have. And I think that till date, whatever I do and I approach it very honestly and I approach it very sincerely. So I think that connects to people. They understand that, they see it, and that's why they are very kind to me.
Manish, tell me about this stress when you were a young man. If you have been around for 30 years, which you have been in film fashion, you were 20-ish when you started. What did stress in the film industry mean to you then? How anxious were you? What were your struggles?
I was very anxious. I was very anxious because I hadn't studied fashion. In those days, in about 88, 89, there wasn't any course for men in Mumbai. I used to model and I was very interested in clothes and color and sketching and all of that. And I started working in a boutique. I got even more interested. And there was something that I wanted to do and bring that big change in Indian cinema, because the late 80s, movies were getting very loud and the clothes were getting very, there were sequence dresses in a garden and they were just getting really dramatic and too much. And I said, I want to get into films. I want to do something completely new. And with that thought, that love, that passion, I got into it. But they were not really used to a designer asking them what is the script of the film. So I remember asking the director, but what is the story? And he looked at me and he's like, how dare you ask me a story? But I was like, so what am I supposed to do? He said, just make the heroine look sexy. So every brief at that time was make the heroine look sexy. I remember my first costume was that she's going to a funeral and make her look sexy. And I kept thinking, how does one make somebody look sexy when she's going to a funeral? And I keep thinking, I would never say that I don't know what you're saying. And then I understood that maybe he means a fit. The fit has to be really good. So then I would work on a fit with my tailors, that how can this fit be better? How can that fit be better? Because I wanted an acceptance. I didn't want actors or filmmakers to feel that he doesn't know.
So when you were asked to make the heroine look sexy, did you do that because that was the brief, or you believed that heroines should first look sexy and then be something else?
Well, that was the brief to begin with. And yes, that was the belief that heroines should always look very attractive. But that is the brief and that is the part of my job.
Is that the brief today as well, that the heroine should look sexy?
There is always a brief like that. But of course, films have really changed. They've become far more real. The girls have a job in a film. In fact, when I came, it was changing also. They became journalists, they became, business women. They were changing. Of course, there were some filmmakers earlier as well, which the heroines had good roles. But largely, either the girl was crying or she was just looking pretty.
So were clothes covering up for roles? Is that something you are saying in the nuance? I also want to know what was the brief about the men. How should the hero look?
So then the whole phase of Switzerland started, where the heroine was in a chiffon sari, in a very small itsy bitsy blouse, but the hero was in a muffler, trench coat, sweater, everything. So if somebody asked me, what's the weather here? Because the hero is in a trench coat, but the actress is in a chiffon sari. But I think in those days you enjoyed the song, you enjoyed the beauty, you enjoyed the color. You didn't question that much, you know. And then came a generation which questioned everything. And today I think everything is instantly questioned, you know. So I think a bit of balance of both is nice when you go and watch a film. I sometimes miss those days when the actress woke up with perfect hair. She never woke up with messy hair, you know. So I think a bit of balance. At the end of the day, cinema is something that you kind of is a little bit of a dream world as well, you know. So there is has to be realism and believable characters, which is what I got in when I came into films. Like I kind of married glamour with realism, and that's what I wanted. That's how Rangila came about. And so the whole thing of realism then came even took another leap with Jab We Met, when the small town girl became your star, and she's the girl who wears a t-shirt with a salwar, she wears a denim jacket,
Still
over a
looking
kurti.
sexy, alright.
Still looking pretty,
As
attractive.
you said, it's the brief.
Attractive. No, that brief changed. Then it was not about sexy. Then she just has to be the role. So briefs change, you kind of have to adapt, you move on. And yeah, so today it's about realism and how you make realism attractive. I like to make everything attractive, so.
We hear about lobbies. Of course, I'll come to the fashion industry later, but there are lobbies in film industry. There are stars and there is groupism. Now, how do you negotiate through that? Because most of the stars have worn your clothes at one time or the other. Even so, film stars are fickle. Today they wear you, tomorrow they wear someone else and they become endorsers. So what's the kind of backroom politics that goes on? Do you feel hurt or stung if a star has moved on from being your favorite?
No, I think isn't it nice that they kind of encourage young designer, young talent? They look different, and it also gives you the ability to not get stuck with one actor, but do a lot of clothes for different actors. And they could be newcomers, they could be actors who are not that big, so-called successfully big. So it kind of that whole diversity and that versatility has come in every profession today. It's not just
So you
restricted
don't mind
to.
somebody who was really your face has moved on and become someone else's face?
Maybe I have not minded it because I've always had some other face, you know. So maybe I've always also liked the whole moving on philosophy in terms of that part. Having said that, I have to say that I've also had the privilege and the blessing to have such long friendships. They say film industry or the world of fashion is a fashion where there's a lot of frivolousness, but there is no deep friendships, and I absolutely disagree to that. I mean, I have not only had friends, but I've also worked with them professionally for that many years, and which is very tough. It looks very easy from the outside, but when you have a friend you're working with, you have to work twice more. You have to be very careful of what you're doing, and you can never take that friendship to your profession.
Do you take criticism yourself also in that spirit from others, from the media, or does it appear harsh and unfair?
Initially, I used to be taken aback. Initially, I used to be like wonder, but I think I kind of. But yet, in my nature, it was always I wake up the next morning and there is so much to do that I start running, you know, at work. So and then that's forgotten. But I have, as a personality, I tend to not really give too much emphasis or importance to anything that is not is just negative for the sake of being negative. But there's always a what should I say? What would the word be? A positive criticism, which I always take in my stride. And I think that like a friend would tell me like, look, I didn't like that hair in the show, or I didn't like this garment, and you take that on and you learn and say, yeah, maybe. But the true critic is me. I watch every show of mine many a times, and the next day I sit with my entire team and say, that wasn't working, this wasn't working. Or when I see a film, I feel this cut was not nice, this outfit puckered there. So I keep a check on that.
Can you critique one film and one show for me from your side that didn't work for you? A Manish Malhotra show and a Manish Malhotra film.
Well, I got a lot of brickbats for a film called Hey Baby for Vidya Balan.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
So I had got like
I can help with criticizing.
yeah. So that I was like, okay. And that was Hey Baby. There was another
You
film.
got criticism. Did you also criticize yourself?
No, when I actually got so criticized for that film, I went back to look at it. They said, was it really sad bad? And I was like, oh, ouch. It was, you know. So it happens. every day is not Sunday, and oh, there are lots of shows where I felt like I could have done better.
The Indian fashion industry, you transited and made a bridge between fashion industry um, and film fashion. The fashion industry, often one feels, has probably, it has given you many finales. It has pulled through you the topmost celebrities. But it's perhaps not been really fair to you, and your peers don't even come for your shows. I don't see any senior designer attending a Manish Malhotra show. How does that work? What's going on? Why is the Indian fashion industry off and on unfair, if I may?
Well, that you should ask them. And so I would think that I think because I come from a world of costume, and before me, there wasn't really a costume designer coming into mainstream. I look at it in the map of Indian fashion. I have a very unique space. I've not studied fashion. I'm self-taught. I used to paint, sketch. I was fascinated with films. I got into movies. From movies, I came into mainstream. I started as a light diffusion label. I went on to doing bridal clothes. So I think that I've been so occupied in what I'm doing next. And I think that when sometimes you don't have the support of your colleagues or your peers, I think it pushes you to do even more. And there's an audience out there which is there to buy your clothes, to be with you, to wear your clothes. And ultimately, that's what matters.
I've also heard that when some sarees break out, or some of your sarees break out in films, next day there is an avalanche of orders. Tell me a little bit about the Deepika Padukone blue sari in Badtameez Dil, that film. What really happened? Why did people want so many of them, and eventually how many did you sell? Also, did you hike the price as the demand went up?
But I think that it became a popular sari. It was very well priced. It was not that expensive. So all of
What
that.
was well priced?
I think that I don't remember. Wait, let me think. No, it wasn't expensive actually. It was about 38,000, 45,000 for the 48,000.
48,000. What is a well
With
priced
the blouse
Manisha
embroidered,
garment?
chiffon. It's not a good price. So they're all laughing. They don't think it's a good price.
It's not a good price.
Okay. No, it's not good.
I suppose for
Okay,
a
so what
majority-
should I have priced it? Then lesser. Okay, so the next round.
26,700.
So the round in 2020 will be 26,000. No,
What is a well priced Manish Malhotra garment?
What's a well-priced garment? The garment which looks worth its price is well-priced.
What is an expensive Manish Malhotra garment?
The garment which looks worth its tag.
Name it. We have been speaking numbers since we began.
So no, those are numbers which are making it sound very ancient. So
Not these. These will make you sound current and
Correct.
successful, which you are.
I don't know. Numbers are relative, aren't they?
What is the most expensive lehenga set you have sold?
Should be about a few lakhs.
Few lakhs?
Yeah.
10 plus.
Could be 1 or 2.
Okay. So it would fetch a young couple.
I'm feeling like I'm in a spot.
Not in-
I feel there's a spotlight on me and saying how much. So how many lakhs was it? I'm feeling like I'm being court martial here.
Okay.
And I'm also saying only a few. There was a few lakhs. I mean,
Okay, no, so I'll not quote the real estate prices in Jharkhand. I'll come back to the blue sari. How many blue saris did you sell?
well, that time there was a whole trend of popular clothes, and I think that today the trend is it's not necessarily where a person sees an outfit on an actor, they want to wear it immediately. I think today's generation is very individual, and they are very about putting things together themselves. And so there is this whole, of course, popular thing that I saw this sari, I really liked it, but it's not really necessary because even Ye Jawani Diwani, the film that we are speaking about, was I think almost 7 years ago, and so there was a whole euphoria about that sari. It was well priced according to me, and we sold tons of that sari. But I don't think that today's bride or bridegroom is really looking at that like that. They look at, oh, I really love this sari, but I want something similar, or I want something different. So I think today is all about individuality, and I think every youngster here today is their own person, which I find fascinating. Because a couple of years ago when the bride came, everybody spoke. The mother-in-law was paying the bill, the mother, the aunt, I don't know who all spoke. But today when the bride comes, it's only she who speaks. Nobody speaks. The mother-in-law is paying the bill is quiet. The mother says, just do her clothes and then do my clothes later. So today's girls are so clear, and I think that is such a phenomenal change. And I love the fact that I think today people are experimenting. The new trend is trendless. You know, the new trend is trendless. They don't really want to follow a trend. They want to make it about them, their personality. They want to take something from a designer and make it their own. I think that's such a brilliant change.
That indeed is true, except perhaps for film stars who seem to be not so stylish without the help of designers like yourself and the army of stylists out there. Do you think Bollywood stars, barring a few, really have style?
You know, I think they do. I really think they do. If you see all our iconic actors like Devanand, Wahida Rehman, you see Raj Kapoor's movies,
They didn't have stylists in any case. So
but they had such an inherent style, and not only style of clothes, the way they projected their work.
what about those now who are constantly swagged with free dresses and go from one designer to another in airport looks?
But I think that they all, if you see that today's youngsters, they again have a very clear mind. They really know what they want to wear, what they want to look like. I think that the whole stream of stylists and designers is also to enable them to get what they are looking for. You know, it's not always necessary that they're listening to. I think they are also quite individual. And as a designer or as a stylist, it is our job to really take on whether an actor, bride, bridegroom, somebody from Jharkhand, somebody from Baroda, somebody from Bombay, whoever, from wherever, take them on, because I feel every person, whether you see a person in Jharkhand, you see a person in, in Baroda, Bombay, Delhi, wherever, all of us have something very interesting individualness about ourselves. And so I think a clever stylist or a clever designer would tap that and bring that out. So that's the same thing with an actor as well.
I want to open the floor to questions.
Good evening, Manish.
Hi.
Hi. Good that I could speak to you. I'll never get this chance again. um,
Just might.
since you mentioned that you have covered 30 years in the industry, how about designing for the local Aam Aadmi also? Why is Manish Malhotra design not affordable for us?
Well,
Why
that
is it always for the celebrities and why is it not for the common people? I mean, after 30 years, do you really, you can do something for the common people also? We all want to wear Manish Malhotra.
I'd love to, and if you're speaking about like a lighter label, which is very cost effective, and that's something that I've been wanting to do for the past 3 years,
Right.
and that's something that I really want to do as well.
Right.
So yeah,
So we'll see.
so
in the
both of
future.
us together will wear my label.
You said that you never went to a design college, you never studied fashion as such. So, did you have that fear that nothing would ever work out? How did you see things in the future when you were in that position? Because as a teenager, it is kind of scary to think about the future and how things would work out. So, could you please?
I was paranoid. It is scary. I agree with you. I was very, very hyper about it, and which was for me, it was also very intimidating because I'd started working with actors who at that time were not like how it is today. You know, in those days, you really couldn't enter a makeup room and say, "Hey, what's up?" It was not like that. There was a secretary involved. You had to wait, all of that. So it was very intimidating to go on a film set at that time. And I was all of 23. I'd only modeled. I was only passionate about sketching. But I think I came with that thing that I want to change the way movies look. So I would ask more questions. I would suggest more things. And for that, I would have to work extra hours without being paid for it, of course. What's the hair? What's the makeup? Why don't you do this? So I think when people see somebody who's wanting to work extra, they kind of give in. Okay, I would say if you wouldn't like it, I'll change it, but I want to do something. So that whole newness that I wanted to bring, I worked extra hours for that. And it took a lot of time. Because in those days, it was not like you design an outfit, put it up on Instagram. So recognition also took time. Mobile phones also, I think they just come in or something like that. And so it was 5 years later when Rangila released. I joined in 1990, Rangila released in 1995 and I got the Filmfare Award and all of that. So it was scary. It still is at times, you know. You kind of cross 50 and you think that, oh my God, there are so many things that I want to do. And things are changing. Today everything is changing so fast. But you have to get that fear out also and enjoy the moment and say, I am doing this, let's leave it. So patience is the only virtue that can get you out of fear.
Nachiket, you will get the last question.
It is showstopper question.
What I have always admired about you is your strong sense of positivity. So I've never seen you, negative, cynical, it's just what drives you after all these years each morning, and how do you stop yourself from being jaded?
Maybe I'm that silly guy who's excited about every small thing. So my friend Karan, that's Karan Johar, teases me that you're excited about everything. If I, we went for a dinner last night, a movie, he's like, you're excited about this cup of coffee also that are happening, So I think it's just that, I think that you just enjoy every moment that you kind of live, and I make a conscious effort. Like Shefali asked me that there are negative comments sometimes. Sometimes they're true. Sometimes there's a good criticism. Sometimes there's a bad criticism. But you have to learn to say, you know what? I'm not getting into this. I'm getting into what's going to work for me, which is my work.
For us at The Voice of Fashion, you are a continuing story. We talk about you a lot. I'm a big personal fan of your warmth and your painfully polite manners and attitude. I learned from it. Thank you for doing this for The Voice of Fashion. Before you go away, please give him a rousing applause, and if I may present
Thank you
a
so much.
copy
Thank
of the
you.
report we
Thank you,
launched
Shefali.
yesterday.